For as long as we've been able to write things down, we've been completely fascinated by our dreams. I mean, they're like this nightly theater playing out in our own minds, right? A super mysterious bridge between the world we know and this other world that somehow feels just as real. So let's dive right into this ancient human puzzle.
I mean, that sudden, heart-stopping plunge that literally jolts you awake? Yeah, you're not alone. It is one of the most common experiences we all share. And it's the perfect way to get into this mysterious realm that, believe it or not, we all visit every single night.
And that is really the core question we're tackling today. From ancient prophecies all the way to modern psychology, we have been on this incredible quest to decode the secret language of our own minds.
So, let's start by getting a handle on just how deep this mystery really goes. I'm not exaggerating when I say it's a story that spans our entire history as a species.
Okay, so scientifically, we have a definition for what a dream is. It happens during what's called REM sleep. That's a phase where our brain is just buzzing with activity, almost like we're awake. But let's be honest, that biological definition doesn't even come close to explaining why they can feel so incredibly profound, right?
To really get that, we have to go way back in time. We need to see how our ancestors first tried to make sense of these nightly visions.
For the ancient Egyptians, there was no question about it. For them, dreams were a direct line to the gods. They were so sure of this, they even had a practice called dream incubation. It was basically this ritual where people would go sleep in sacred temples, actively hoping to get healing visions or some kind of divine guidance through their dreams.
And what's so fascinating is just how specific they got. There's this thing called the Ramesside Dream Book. It's like an ancient dream dictionary from more than 3,000 years ago, and it lists these really clear omens. Get this, dreaming that you're dead wasn't a nightmare at all. It was actually a sign that you were going to have a long life. So the interpretations were often totally counterintuitive, but people took them as absolute fact.
And this really shows you how our thinking started to evolve. After the Egyptians, you've got the ancient Greeks, and they kicked off a debate that, honestly, we're still having today. You had philosophers like Plato, who thought dreams revealed our hidden inner desires. But then you had Aristotle, who argued they were just a product of our own minds, not messages from the gods. And right there, the central conflict was born. Do dreams come from the outside, or do they come from within?
That one question, outside or within, it sparked a total revolution in thinking. For centuries, we looked up to the heavens for answers. But then, in the 20th century, we finally turned our attention inward to explore the secret language of the mind itself.
And the person who really changed the game here was Sigmund Freud. He came up with this idea that every dream has two layers. First, there's the manifest content. That's the weird story you actually remember, like flying over your old school. But hiding underneath that is the latent content, the hidden, symbolic meaning. And Freud was convinced this was a coded message about all our repressed wishes and desires.
But then, Freud's own student, Carl Jung, he had a different take. He totally agreed that dreams were symbolic, but he just didn't think it was all about our personal repressed stuff. Jung believed our dreams connect us to something way bigger, what he called a collective unconscious. Think of it like a giant shared reservoir of memories and symbols that we've all inherited from our human ancestors.
According to Jung, this explains why we see the same kinds of characters and symbols pop up in myths, stories, and dreams all over the world in totally different cultures. He called them archetypes, like the hero, or the wise old man, or even a symbol of our own dark side, the shadow. He believed these were universal patterns, basically hardwired into the human psyche.
Okay, so we've gone from gods to the psyche. Now let's jump forward into the 21st century and see what modern neuroscience tells us our brain is actually doing on its night shift. You could say that if Freud and Jung gave us the psychological grammar, then science is now showing us the biological engine that makes it all run.
What science is telling us is that dreams aren't just one thing. They seem to have several key jobs. One big theory is memory consolidation. That's where your brain is basically sorting through everything that happened during the day, deciding what to keep and what to toss. Then there's emotion processing, where dreams give us a safe space to work through tough feelings. And maybe my favorite, threat simulation. This is the idea that nightmares are basically a training ground, letting us practice how to react to danger without any of the real risk.
And have you ever stopped to wonder why, in a dream, you just accept the most bizarre stuff? Like flying pigs? Sure. Talking teacups? No problem. Well, it turns out there's a really clear neurological reason for that.
During REM sleep, your amygdala, that's the emotional center of your brain, is going nuts. It's on fire. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic and reasoning, it's pretty much taking a nap. And that imbalance is exactly why the emotions in a dream feel so intense, while all logic just goes right out the window.
Okay, so we've covered gods, psychology, and neuroscience. But let's try to bring all these ideas together now. What do dreams ultimately mean for us, as individuals, just trying to understand ourselves a little better?
This really beautiful question from the ancient Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi, it just gets right to the heart of it. Dreams make us question the very nature of reality itself. They show us that our perception of what's real can change, and that our own consciousness is way more mysterious than we usually think.
And this just goes to show how connected we all are in that mysterious space. Falling, being chased, your teeth falling out. These themes pop up in dreams all across the globe. Now, whether you think that's proof of Jung's collective unconscious, or if it's just a result of our shared human anxieties, about losing control, being judged, and mortality, either way, that connection is absolutely undeniable.
And this really gets to the core of modern dream interpretation. There is no single dream dictionary that works for everyone. The meaning of a symbol, let's say a snake, is built in layers. There's an evolutionary layer, that ancient primal fear of danger. Then there's a cultural layer, because in some cultures, a snake means healing, while in others, it means evil. And most importantly, there's the personal layer, your own unique experiences and feelings connected to that symbol.
Which brings us to the key takeaway here. We might have moved past thinking of dreams as divine prophecies that predict the future, but in a way, they are a kind of prophecy, a psychological one. They're not telling you what's going to happen to you, but they are a perfect mirror of what's happening inside you. Your hidden fears, your secret hopes, and even the person you're in the process of becoming.
And at the end of the day, that's what dreams really are. They completely bypass our logical, word-based minds and speak directly from the deeper, more intuitive parts of who we are. They communicate in symbols and in feelings, in a language that's much, much older than words.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. After exploring all of this, from ancient gods to modern brain scans, the real work of decoding, well, that begins the moment you wake up. So if your dreams are a mirror, what are they going to reflect back to you tonight?